Good morning and welcome to Tuesday the 26th of October, and got a few little jobs to do. I'm having a bit of a BBI week, I think. Pardon my French, it's a bone bloody idle week. I'm not doing a great deal, so this is going to be a short vid. I'm sure it is. A couple of things I wanted to go through is somebody's asked me about gun stock oil, and I'm going to show you anyway the tiller extensions and the handle that I've now put 3 coats of gun stock oil on. I'm going to put another 3 coats on today, and I'm going to put another 3 coats on Thursday. I like to leave a day in between, and if I get round to sorting it proper when I come to do the editing, I will show the extenders when I last week when I put 3 coats of linseed oil on them, thinking that this was going to be, you know, as good as gun stock, and you will see a massive difference between the two. There's lots of different products out there, and I'm not promoting True Oil, which is the brand that I use. I've bought it myself. It's, you know, I've bought with my own money. I've not been in touch with the company and asked them to give it to me, but it is a cracking product. So I'm going to show you, because somebody's asked me about application. I did show you that with the barge poles. But obviously, you know, if you've missed that, I will do it today, and I will just show you, because I'm going to put these extra coats on today. Another little thing, a bit of a quiz. These are the offcuts from the 2 broom handles that I've turned into extenders. I mean, first and foremost, just look at what they are. They're just clean pine, I assume they're pine, broom handles. In a bit, when I show you my putting the extra coats of gun stock oil on, you'll not recognise that these are exactly the same as what I'm going to be oiling. It's completely different, although it is the same. So the question is, I've decided I've cut these down when I done the offcuts. I thought, well, they're no good. I'll put them in my burning bag on the back of the boat, and I'll just chuck them on the fire. But then I thought, I could find a use. You know, I'm a bogger for finding uses for stuff. I really am. So I've got a little job. They're all about the same length. There's a slight difference in them, but there's not a lot. And sooner than burn them, I'm going to put them to good use to save a problem that I have once a week on this boat. And the clue that I'm going to give you for now is it's to do with my water tank. So I'm going to cut in at some point when I do all the editing and show you what I'm going to do with these, and then I'm going to show you how they actually work. And see if you can guess, what's he going to do with 5 bits of old broom handle to do with the water tank? So I'm going to show you coating these extenders and the tiller handle. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with these. I've had a question about my bath or shower, so I hopefully will cut that in at some point. And there's not going to be a lot else. I am going to go down in the engine bay, because there's something I need to check in there, which you can come with me and I'll show you. So it's a little bit of a mishmash, but that's boat life, you know. It's not all, you know, painting roofs and polishing sides and major tasks. Sometimes it's just fiddly little jobs. So it's Tuesday, my day off. I've got 3 days off now, and routinely Tuesday is loo day. So I'll come back to you after I've been and sorted the loo, and I'll make a bit of a start, I think, on these first, and it'll see if you can figure it out as we go. All right, so go and put the kettle on, and I'll come back to you after I've sorted my loo. See you in a bit. Have you guessed yet? No? Right, so what I've done, I've just, if you look at the ends, that's how it was. that's how it is. And I've done that on the end of every single one. Look, I've just chamfered them a bit because it was all perfectly round, and now they're slightly chamfered. No specific measurement, just take the edges off every single one. So what's that got to do with my water tank? Now, one of the problems I always have when I come to fill my water tank is I run the hose across the back from that water point there, across the back of Freedom, and I have to then run it down the finger jetty to the front of the boat where the tank is, and the hose normally rubs on that metal strip there. So, and the biggest problem I have is when I've finished filling the tank, I put the reel here and start to wind it in, and the hose drops between the finger jetty and the side of Freedom. So by chamfering them little bits of wood, what I've done, I can just fit them without doing any damage to the finger jetty, randomly in between the boards, all the way down, right down to the front. And I'm going to set you up on the tripod, and hopefully, swing round, hopefully when I wind this hose in, it won't make me out to be a liar, and these pegs will stop the pipe dropping into the Marina. And it's just to keep your hose clean, and it keeps it off the out of the water. Now let's see if it works. Okay, yeah, I've seen so many boaters doing what I'm doing now, winding the hose back onto the reel, and it has a habit of dropping directly behind where them pegs are now, and this just helps keep the hose on the finger jetty. And as you can see, this one's coming back nice, but often is the case, it will find its way into the water, and these posts are just there just to keep it on the finger jetty and avoid any contact with the Marina water. So not the best demo, but that's my my thinking. 5 bits of scrap wood, takes a couple of seconds just to pop them in between the planks on the finger jetty, and it'll save me digging my hose out of the dirty water. Job's a good one. Now this is the tiller handle. I'll try, if possible, to find a photograph of this. This has had 3 coats of gun oil now, and I'm going to put another 3 coats on today, and as I said earlier, I'm going to put another 3 coats on Thursday, and then that'll be done. I decided, as I said in the last vlog, I've just put a screw underneath here, drilled it and put a screw in, so this is more of a permanent fix. It can't then accidentally come out. If I'm in a manoeuvring situation, I don't want the handle just to suddenly fall out. So as you can see already, it's got a nice sheen on it. And let me just bring you over here, and these extension poles, as you can see again, are now starting to look a lot better. When you consider they started life same as that bit of wood there, I think you'll agree a bit of stain and some gun oil makes one heck of a difference. These again have had 3 coats, so I'm going to just quickly, for the person who's asked me, show you again how I apply it. I don't use a cloth, and the way I look at it, if you're going to use a cloth, all that does is soak up the oil that you're trying to put on. And this, again, I've bought this myself. I'm not promoting it for the company. There's other makes out there. I have tried one this last week and it was rubbish, so I'm sticking with what I know best. And I've done several rifles using this on the stocks, on the wooden stocks, and I think once you get to know how to work with it, you wouldn't use anything else. I really don't think you would. So I'm just going to put you on the stand and I'll show you just how I do it. Okay, bit of a clutter because I'm trying to do all these different jobs at as long as I can show you. So, as I say, this has had 3 coats of gun oil on it, and all I do, I don't do as it tells you on the instructions, but that doesn't mean you've got to avoid the instructions. Little bit in your hand. I'm hoping you can see that. There's not a lot, you don't need a lot. And then all you're doing is just massaging it around the wood. I don't want any rude comments below, but what this does, the heat of your hand, the warmth of your hand, and the friction from rubbing it around the wood helps the oil dry into the wood, and it also helps it harden. And as you're rubbing it on, you can feel, I can feel, the resistance already. Initially, it was very oily. Now it's starting to feel greasy, if that makes sense. It's a little bit more resistance. And it's the warmth and the friction creating that warmth that helps this dry. And its nice thing is, even though you're doing it by hand, you would imagine this has been sprayed on, because it's so much easier than putting it on with a brush. And there's hardly now any moisture on there. I can feel it's almost dry. So a little bit on my hands, as you can see, there's not a lot there. So I'm going to put another drop on. Again, don't go crazy. As with all these things, be patient. Don't forget to do the ends. Now again, it's lovely and slippy now. I know this sounds a bit rude, but anyway, as I say, no dirty comments in the no dirty comments below. I was doing this last night when I come back from walking Misty, and it was pitch black outside, and I got my head torch on, and I thought, oh, I may as well just get another coat before I go to bed. And I'll stop to think afterwards. I thought, well, if anybody's gone past, they'll be wondering what the hell I'm on with. But already, again, I can feel the heat. You know when you're rubbing your hands together, your hands get hot. Well, I can feel the heat now coming off of this already, and it really does help build up the layers. And that's what you're doing. You're putting lots of little layers on. You don't need, if you put a load on, all you're going to end up with is like runs in treacle. You know, it's just not going to be right. And that is how I apply stock oil, and the results speak for themselves. Yeah, it's a bit of effort. What else was I going to do? And again, I'm now to a point already where it's almost like you're having to force your hand across it, because it's drying in that quick. And I'll just show you I'll put a little bit more in my hands. I'm just coming out of shot a minute while I get this extender rod. So again, just lay the rod in your hand. Don't forget to do the ends. It's pointless having a nice, shiny, well-coated shaft and then the ends are dull. And just work it all the time. Just keep working it. Don't be tempted to put loads on. You know, you don't need to. Just put lots of coats on, but do them thin. And as I said, when I was doing the barge poles, when you've done, your hands will be very sticky. As you see, I'm putting the oil in with my right hand, which is clean, and just keeping my left hand at the moment oiled up. But now, both hands, as I say, just get some friction. And I can feel again the heat coming off of these already. You don't need to go to the gym to work out, that's for sure. Come and work on freedom. And there's a resistance there as the oil's now drying. Puts me out of puff. And there you go, that's another coat on. I'll just leave it on there. And just got the longer extender pole to do. And then I'm going to take Misty for a walk, have a coffee. I'm not going to film it again, but these, as I say, I'll get a total of 3 coats today. And I can leave about an hour in between, and they'll be ready to accept another coat. Now you can, if you want, you could, if you think you need to, get some very, very, very fine wire wool, and then just in between coats, you can just wire wool them just to make them extra smooth. But looking at these, I don't think I've got a problem with that. Not at all. And there's something very satisfying to think, you know, you've turned an old broom handle into something that's going to not only serve a purpose, but it actually looks okay. I couldn't get the colour. I just couldn't get the colour. This wouldn't take the stain. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it because, as I say, it's not a major issue. But at least both will have a nice, lovely hard sheen on them. And I think this is so much nicer than using varnish. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? I'll leave it to dry, take my dog, and hopefully I'll show you tomorrow the end result of these 3 coats. Catch up with you in a bit. Right, Claire, you're very observant. You've noticed in a lot of the vlogs that there's these 2 kettles. Neither of them at the moment have actually had much use. In fact, the one on the right hasn't had any use whatsoever. The black one, I bought this solely for when I'm out on the water and I want to boil a kettle to do some pots. It's going to go where these fans are at the moment. I'll just move the fans back out the way, and it sits between the chimney and the front of the stove. And the reason there's a black kettle is because then if it does get heat marked, it's not going to be as noticeable as this one. When I want to boil a kettle of water for a cup of tea on a gas ring, that's going to be the kettle I'm going to use. I'm not OCD, but I just don't fancy having heat marks up the side of this one. So I've got a designated stove kettle. There you go, well spotted. Welcome to my engine bay. Little job that I haven't done, that I need to do, is to check this greaser. A lot of people, when they first look at buying a boat, one of the worries they have is water getting into the engine area via the prop shaft, because obviously it's got to go through a hole in the back of your boat. And now this is kept at bay. There's an ingenious little piece of device here, and this greaser is connected to it via this pipe. And inside here, the prop shaft is going from the gearbox through out to the propeller. But inside of this collar here, there is seals, and the prop shaft runs through them. And then there's the grease that is bedded around them using this wind down greaser. So what we're going to do today, I haven't had a look at it, so it'll be interesting. This is normally kept fairly well full of grease, which is this. I'm using this K99 water resistant grease. And what you do on a regular basis, you just turn that lever, maybe a turn, depends how much cruising you're doing. And what that does, it pushes the plunger down to the bottom of the cylinder, or towards the bottom of the cylinder, and it's compressing the grease, which is then forcing it through this pipe, which I'm hoping you can see because I've put you up on the stern floor and I'm down in the engine bay. It'll force the grease down and keep it well packed inside this housing. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to, I didn't take much undoing. Have a look inside here. What I will do, I'm going to run a little bit, when I've packed it with grease if it needs any, I'm going to run a little bit of copper grease on these threads. I like things to be well greased. And that is the plunger, and as you can see, It's on a threaded shaft, and then there's a rubber seal running around it. So what have we got? I'm gonna pull you off that stand a second and just see if I can show you. Sorry for moving you about, but it might help understand. Well, that tube there, where my finger is, should be full of grease. And you can see almost to the bottom, I think, if I can hold the camera still. So yeah, it's time to put some grease in. Definitely needs some. I've now got just to climb out and make sure that I've put the camera back so you can see what I'm doing. Just bear with me a second. It's good job I'm only little. You have to be a gazelle to get in and out of the engine bay. It's just getting your feet in without doing any damage to any pipes or hoses. So, this is the grease we're going to use. And the tub comes with a plastic collar, hole in the middle. Now when you fill your grease gun at home, the idea of this tub is that you take your grease gun end off and push your grease gun down onto here, and as you push it down, the grease will come out the middle and fill the tube on your grease gun. So I'm going to try it upside down. I don't know whether this will work or not. There's no reason why it shouldn't. So I'm just pushing it, which should, and it has, fill me up with grease. Can you just see that's all on the top? How clean and easy is that? Not getting my hands messy. I'll store that there out of the way. I think, as I say, what I'm going to do, this is copper grease. Now, copper grease is great because it always ensures that when you come to undo something, if you've got a little smear of this on it, it'll undo. So I'm just going to put a little bit on the top threads. Don't need to go crazy with it. I mean, if you haven't got copper grease, I suppose you could just use this ordinary waterproof grease that is on here. And again, just a little bit. As you can see, I'm not putting a massive amount on. It's just to, you don't ever want to get to a situation where this seizes up, because it's got nothing to, this is a central nut that holds everything down as well. And I just think it's good practice to make sure that everything does exactly what it does. You don't want to be in a situation where you're fighting with it because you forgot just to put a little touch of grease on, just to keep these threads lubricated. Now, as you can see, I haven't slammed it on, I haven't put loads on, just enough. I'm going to put a little bit around these threads on here, and as I tighten it up, it'll just feed it into the female side of the contraption. Okay, so then all we need to do, says he with a lot of confidence, that's it. What I wanted to do was make sure, put it back on that. I wanted to make sure I got the threads running neat. I didn't want to cross thread it. Now I'm going to wind this centre one down into the lid where it belongs. It's like a locking system, I assume, that holds everything in place. As I say, this is all new to me, but it looks like that's never had any grease in it for a long, long while. So I'm just going to hold that and tighten that down. Now I'm going to do it hand tight to start with. And as I'm tightening that, it'll be pushing that grease already down. although the middle handle is the reason it goes down, this one. This is just tightening it up on the tube. That's it. Feel the resistance. Now, with a small pair of water pump pliers, I should have a smaller pair than that somewhere. What do they look? Golden rule is don't be tempted to get carried away and tighten everything that's solid. You're going to cause yourself a problem. You can always check next time you come in the engine bay after you've been out cruising that everything is tight, but you don't need to be sledgehammering it, as I call it. Okay, so now she's full of grease. As we turn this, already I can feel some resistance, and that's just pushing that grease. That's really tight now, so that's pushing that grease all the way down the tube, into this little tube, down into the actual collar, and that's how you do it. So then when you do your daily checks, if you're out cruising on a regular basis, you'll do your engine checks, you'll check your gearbox oil, you'll check your engine oil, you'll check your coolant level, and you will give that possibly at the end of the, well, I suppose if you're doing your engine checks in the morning, some people I suppose do them at the end of cruising, but if you do it first thing in the morning, you just get out a half turn if you aren't going very far, you haven't been very far, and you'll always keep the pressure on the grease and always keep it feeding down to that collar. And this bilge here is as dry as a bone, so at least we know it's doing its job. So that's how it's done. So how do you stop water getting into your boat? Ensure, unlike this was empty, you keep this topped up, and you regularly, when you've been out cruising, just turn it a quarter or a half turn. You'll feel the resistance on the handle. Don't force it too much, you don't need to. You just keep it under a steady pressure. Hope that's been a bit of interest to you, and let's get back up on top and get these rudder extensions and the handle another coat of gun oil. Right, Misty, let's try and keep this simple, because I know you're not very bright. Daddy's bit of sofa, Misty's bit of sofa. So it's Daddy's bit of sofa, Misty's bit of sofa. It's no good banging your tail. This is your bit. Daddy's, Misty's. So which bit are you supposed to be on? I'm sure it's not that bit. Get on your bit. Yes, this is your bit. Daddy's. You are a cowbag. You are. I'm swapping you for a spaniel. I am. I'm going to put you up for adoption. Are you listening? You go in. I've had enough on you. Get on your bit. Get on your bit. Now. I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, 3. You're a cow. Okie dokie, so I was asked about if Freedom had a bath or a shower. Now I did do a walkthrough, it was over a year ago. So this is my bathroom, and as you can see I have a shower, and I love this shower. And when I moved on to Freedom, I came out of a very large house. I had a wet room downstairs and a massive shower in the bathroom along with the bath. And I lived in that house for 10 years and only ever had 2 showers, one in the wet room, one in the bathroom, and because I always preferred a bath. So yeah, this is my bathroom look. You come in, no different to anybody else's really. I've got a Thetford cassette toilet. It's a flusher, so obviously you've got a blue button on the top, just press it, electronically flushes the toilet. And this lovely shower, plenty of room in there. Not that I need a lot of room because I'm not a very big fella. Stop looking at me flipping radox. That's it. Now, I know you're going to ask me why have I got 2 scrunchies hanging up. Well, I'm not going to answer that because it's pretty obvious. And if it isn't obvious, then you don't know me very well. And then come around this side. Cabinets, obviously. That's a starboard portal. And then wash basin. And all my, this is why I look so youthful, you see. It's all these creams, additives. So that is my bathroom. So, well, it's not a bathroom, is it? It's a shower room. And then obviously I've got my towel warmer there. And then all my spare towels up above it so it keeps them nice and dry. So, there you go. Beautiful shower room. Love it to bits. Piping hot water when I have a shower. And as I say, I haven't had a bath for 2 years. I hope that answers your question. No, I haven't got a bath. I have a lovely shower. Good morning and welcome to a very windy Thursday the 28th of October. I'm just about to settle down and edit this vlog that you're watching now, and just a couple of things I need to add in. First and foremost, big apologies to Claire Robinson. I said last week I was going to answer your question on kettles. I put it in the 4-note runner of the actual video to say I was going to do it, and I forgot to do it. So I've ensured that is definitely going to be included in this week's. I've finished the tiller extension and rudder arm handle coatings with gun stock oil. So I'm just going to lift you off here in a minute and just quickly show you. And if I get my technical head on, what I'll try and do is I'm going to video it, stop the video, put a photograph in of what it looked like before in the same position, and then carry on videoing, if that makes sense. So you get a bit of a more of a before and an after, which will show how dull and uninteresting the actual rudder handle itself was, and how plain and boring the extender shaft was in comparison to how it looks now. So as I often say, without any further ado, let me take you off this stand and I'll take you down and show you. Right, this is the longer of the two extender poles that I've done. As I explained last week's vlog, I've made a second one. This is the second one, just in case I find I'm in a position where I need that little bit extra length so I can see out the side of the boat. And I can see it's all nicely coated. It's had 9 layers of gun stock oil on it, and if I bring you up here now, as you can see, the handle has actually got a sheen on it, as the extender has. It's fitted where it's going to go. Now I am going to take this rudder arm off in a minute and put it in the store bin, because I wouldn't normally have it on the back of the boat when it's not being sailed, but this is just so I could show you. So I'm going to let you see this, and then I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to put a picture in of how it did look, and then just bring you back. And there you go. I think you'll agree that that old broom handle definitely looks a lot nicer, and the original tiller handle has got a nice sheen on it. I've tried my damnedest to get the two to match, but the tiller handle itself, even though I rubbed it back to bare wood and I used exactly the same stain on it, it wouldn't take on this colour that the pine has. But I'm not going to let that bother me. It's no major issue. At some point in the future I may get a new handle and have another go. I've got plenty of gun stock oil and I've got plenty of dye, but it's not going to be detrimental in how it actually works. So I hope you agree. I have had a lovely comment from Mike on the Marina, referenced the pin system that I'm using at the moment, and his concerns that the extender pole may split, and his suggestion of putting a universal joint in there, which is something, to be fair, I did look at, couldn't find anything suitable at the time, and that'll be an ongoing project if I do find the right item. But for now, this is going to do what I need it to do, and I'm not saying it's perfect, and I'm not saying this is how you should do yours, but it's neat and it's tidy and it looks quite pleasing to the eye. Hope you agree. Cider of the week. And welcome to this week's Cider of the Week. Not such a busy week, got a few little jobs done. I hope you found them of interest. I was quite surprised to find that the greaser had got no grease in it, considering again Freedom's not actually been anywhere, and the engine's only run, when I bought her she'd only been running 19 hours in total. So in, you know, that's not far. You estimate say 3 miles to an hour, so the engine's run equivalent of 60 miles, yet there's no grease. So whether it's just deteriorated, and I don't know. Anyway, it's full of fresh grease, and that's sorted. That's a little job ticked off, and the tiller arm and extender's done, finished, sorted. I've just got the pegs to paint, to put in the finger jetty when I do the water tank every week. At the moment I've got no neighbours, so I'm not panicking, but obviously if I get a neighbour I'd like just to paint the ends either bright yellow or red or something like that, so if he steps off his boat, even though he will see the hose on the jetty, it'll just make him aware that they're there. He won't walk that close to my boat, but you never can say never. So a little bit of a development regarding solar. I've been doing a lot of research on the MPPT controller, and I'm looking now to go with Victron on a 250/100 model with auto dump system on it, which I'll go into in great more detail when we get around to actually fitting. On a time scale, I'm anticipating solar's going to go on within the next 8 weeks, and at the same time the engine's going to be plumbed so that when I run the engine, the hot water that runs around the engine will go through my water tank, through a coil inside the water tank, and heat the water. So what I am going to do, once that's been coupled up, I'm going to do a couple of tests. I'm going to switch all the water heater, the electric water heater, off, and I'm going to let the tank go cold. I'm going to do a thermometer test on the water coming out the tap, and then I'm going to run the engine for an hour and see how much difference there is there, and see whether there's enough after an hour to have a shower. I think I've got a 57 litre tank. I've got to do this because I need to know from cold how long it will take when I'm out on the water. If I've just got the engine to rely on to heat the water, how long it's going to take to have enough hot water to have a shower. So yeah, plenty of things still to be done, but there's no major rush because I'm not going anywhere at the moment. So this week's cider of the week, I bought this in Asda. I went in the other day, and what drew my eye is it's called Rattler, and there's a picture of a snake on it, so that tells you something. It's a Cornish cider, and it's a cloudy cider. It's a let me get this right for you. Yeah, it's a 500ml bottle, as again this one's 6%, so it's got a little bit more kick in it, and it just says, want a bottle with bite, named after the feisty Cornish Rattler apple, blended with Healy's know-how. So the company's called Healy's, obviously. And then on the back it just says, chill it, sip it, love it. Let's see if we do. So as I say every week, let's crack it open. I've put you out on the bow deck so you can't keep nebbing in my drawers. It's a bit too much of that. And whoever it was that was looking at me inside my shower a bit too close, you've got to stop watching. Right. Oh, that smells like a proper apple cider. I mean, it's not a fruit flavoured cider, so you can tell straight away. It smells lovely. Let's hope it tastes nice. I'm just going to put a drop in there because I might not like it. Look on the black side. Yeah, it is definitely a cloudy. As you can see, that it's cloudy. It smells happily. Makes you sugar. That surprised me. That is bloody lovely. It's actually lovely. What can I say? Obviously it's cloudy, packed with bubbles. It's different to any other, what I call plain apple cider that I've had. It's one of these you're going to have to go and buy a bottle to try it, but it's very refreshing. And this is what I'd class this as an all-rounder. I would definitely have this with a meal. Come back to my favourite roast dinner, glass of this, maybe not in a tankard, maybe just a tumbler. I think if you drank a tankard for this while eating your dinner, you won't finish your dinner. It's really, really nice. Be very nice as a social cider, out with your friends. I don't think you'll get it in a pub, but keep your eye open for Rattler cider. I'm sure some pubs will stock it. But if you're having it at home with friends, then as I say, I know that Asda sell it. I think it was £2 for the bottle. I can't remember because I actually went in to buy some drinks for the wedding car. I did my last wedding last Saturday and I had to get drinks in for the bride and groom. Yeah, I think it was about £2. I don't think it was any more than that. And you know, this is again is another one of these I'm going to earmark to have in my fridge for over Christmas. I think this will be a lovely icy cold drink to have when I've got the fire blazing hot, Misty snoring on the sofa, and I'm chilling out with a bowl of chestnuts and a glass of this. It's lovely. Where would I score it? I think I'd score this a 9. I'd definitely score this a 9. It's up there with the fruit flavours, and I am biased because I do like berry flavoured ciders, but I do also like a cider that doesn't knock your head off, but it tastes like a cider. And I'm not so sure I'd be any good with still ciders. I'm no good with still wines. I like the bubbles, but I will try some when I can find some. Well, it doesn't make you shudder. First mouthful did, but it doesn't make you shudder. It's very refreshing, full of flavour, no nasty aftertaste. It's all happily. Get out there, get yourself Cornish cloudy cider called Rattler. You'll enjoy it, I know you will. So all that remains for me to say is I hope you've enjoyed the vlog. I have tried to put a few different aspects in there this time, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up, but more importantly, do subscribe to the channel. That's how it grows. You're not going to get inundated with gumph, you're not going to get any cost for doing it. Flick on the notification bell, and every time we put a vlog out, then you'll see it, or you'll know it's there. And whilst we're on the subject of joining, move over to Facebook, to Misty and Me, join us on that group. You will have to apply to join, but I'll accept you in, and you get to see all the sides of day-to-day life living on a Widebeam. It's not all roses. So until next week, well, I was just going to say till next week. My daughter may be coming over for a few days this next week because I missed her birthday celebration, so I'm hoping she's going to come over for a couple of days. So there may not be a vlog as such next week. All depends. I only got so many hours in a day, but I'll do my best to keep you updated. So until next week, possibly. Cheers.